What up, Scouts? Welcome to the Career Speaks podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today, I have past candidate for Honolulu City Council District 7, current chairman neighborhood board for Kalihi Palama, and current Dreamhouse Eva Beach Charter School founding chief officer. So go ahead if you are interested and appreciate these deep talks, life lessons with different career professionals. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel. We both really appreciate that. But Ryan Mandado, aka Dado, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. One thing that I tell people who work in, I would say, social services, right?
Yeah.
Or careers that involve people is to never forget to celebrate.
Oh,
And since I was in college, um, it's always like, I'm first gen, I'm in college, there's always going to be barriers. There's
yeah,
always going to be walls. There's always going to be no's. Um, but you have to celebrate how you got there. And I don't know how to make it less cliched. And this is what I tell my friends too, or the people
yeah,
that I surround myself all the time. I'm like, hey, we're always going to be up against things because that's just how the system works, right? Like
yeah,
majority of us and the people that I hang out with, our families, we're immigrants, and now it's our opportunity. It's our opportunity to change the narrative or change the life trajectory that so that we don't need to work as hard as our parents did.
mm,
And the only way we're going to get there without constantly like bashing ourselves or making us feel like we're working super hard is we
yeah,
need to celebrate. So we need to celebrate the small wins, right? Celebrate getting an interview, celebrate going or finishing something up, finishing up a project, completing a task at work, um, you know finishing a community meeting, right? Like after all those things, I always say like, hey, we did it. Let's go out. Let's do something. Let's celebrate. And I tell myself that all the time because I think it's a good balance, right?
yeah,
That when you celebrate the small wins, you always feel like you can continue to win. And yeah, in college, people would call me like a party scholar. Um, and I really just stick that or kept that particular identity
mm,
because every time I celebrated something small, it just made me feel better.
yeah,
Um, and and those are when things get rough at work, when you're dealing with students who you see yourself in the students as well, that man, I went through that. I went through the struggles that you're going through, but I'm here in this position trying to ensure that we both change our life trajectories, right? And then I go out and celebrate with other people who are seeing the same things, and so it's
mm-hmm,
like building that community with people who have similar experiences such as you, and then celebrating life along the way. um, and that's kind of how I would combat the fatigue that you mentioned,
yeah,
because without taking time within a week or a month to do something and have fun and celebrate, I don't think I could be where I am right now if I didn't celebrate the small wins.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think it's as cliche as we think because, I mean, coming from and this could be a typical immigrant, first generational mindset, right? Of being really hard on yourself in everything that you do, because, like you said, not wanting a better life than our parents, our grandparents, the families that came before us, wanting to really use those opportunities to find a way to succeed, whether that's in America, whether that's in any other country, right? This idea of not giving yourself enough credit for what you do. And that's just a very common feeling. And I feel like everyone goes through that at some point. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but it's not cliche to say that we need to celebrate more because looking at the positive side of things, a lot of us have come so far, right? And whether that's in our jobs, whether that's in our careers, whether that's emotionally or in our relationships, we've come so far to
Right.
not be able to celebrate. Yeah, and
Right.
I think that's something for me personally that I need to remind myself more because compassion fatigue is real. I'm sure someone listening to this feels the same way of you're giving your 110% in whatever you're doing, but you're just not finding the same results as you thought when you first started that project or that job or that initiative. But I have to ask myself, am I celebrating enough? Am I celebrating the smaller steps along the way? Am I taking time to appreciate? And I guess this is where it gets a little bit cliche, but taking into account the what do we appreciate and this idea of gratitude. But it really comes down to, you know, not being as hard on yourself a lot of times. And it's very easy to say, I struggle with it all the time. But like you said, whether that's hanging out with friends, well, now it would have to be online because of the pandemic, but, you know, taking those small moments with people, with family, and just being very open, saying, I accomplished this, and being okay with that. Because I guess from a Asian American perspective, right, we don't talk about our wins. We always talk about our losses or what we haven't done or what we have not accomplished yet.
Right.
But then our wins, we diminish our wins that way. We diminish our accomplishments when it shouldn't be like that, because we're already starting against a barrier or against an oppression or against this social construct that's already trying to hinder the way that we think. So we can combat that by celebrating those moments of victory, whether it's a victory for us or it's a victory for someone else, right? Our idea of victory or sense of gratitude might be different, but at the end of it, if it's something that we're proud about, then it should be something that we're willing to be okay with saying, well, I did this. And that's going to help propel us into the next win or the next accomplishment, or continue to give us motivation and fill our cup to serve the people that we're serving. And that's just a great reminder that I need to continue to remind myself, but for everyone else, don't be afraid to appreciate yourself. Don't be afraid to appreciate your accomplishments, because at the end of it, you accomplished that. And not everyone can say that. But Ryan, we've talked so much about, you know, your experiences in policy, your experiences in community service. We talked about your campaign and the struggles, but also the victories alongside that. But we also just talked about how your personality continues to flourish because of how thankful for you are in the moment and serving the people, and using that as gratitude and using that as a way to say, you know, we're making it every single day. So I just want to say, for everyone else that's listening, continue to appreciate yourself, but more importantly, continue to celebrate your victories, other people's victories, hashtag protect your energy, and all those great things. But Ryan, thank you so much for sharing this with me today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you all.
Yes. Until the next time, everyone, like I said, like, share, subscribe to the channel, to the Instagram. We both really appreciate that. But until the next time, everyone, talk to you later.